Now we shall discuss discharge by lapse of time. A contract is discharged if it is not performed or enforced within a specified period called the period of limitation. The Limitation Act 1963 has prescribed different periods for different contracts. For example, the period of limitation for exercising a right to recover a debt is 3 years and the right to recover immovable property is 12 years. The contractual parties cannot exercise their rights after the expiry of the period of limitation. Now we shall discuss by operation of law. A contract may be discharged by operation of law in the following cases. Number 1. By the death of the promiser. A contract involving the personal skill or ability of the promiser is discharged on the death of the promiser. Second, by insolvency. When a person is declared insolvent, he is discharged from his liability up to the date of his insolvency. Number 3, by unauthorized material alteration. If any party makes any material alteration in the terms of the contract without the approval of the other party, the contract comes to an end. Lastly, by the identity of the promiser and the promisee, or what is called as merger. When the promiser becomes the promisee, the other parties are discharged. Now we shall understand discharge of a contract by breach. A contract is said to be discharged by breach of contract if any party to the contract refuses or fails to perform his part of the contract, or by his act makes it impossible to perform his obligation under the contract. We shall elaborately deal with the discharge of a contract by breach later in the course of this lecture. Next, we shall discuss discharge of a contract by impossibility. Impossibility discharges the parties. Following are the categories of impossibility. Number 1. Initial impossibility. Sometimes an agreement may be impossible to perform. The impossibility of performance of the contract may be there from the very beginning. Such an impossibility which exists from the very beginning is known as initial impossibility. Section 56 of the Indian Contract Act deals with cases of initial impossibility and provides that an agreement to do an act impossible in itself is void. Second category is subsequent impossibility. Sometimes a contract may be possible to perform when it is made, but afterwards something happens which makes the performance of the contract impossible or unlawful. Such an impossibility which arises later is known as subsequent impossibility. Cases of subsequent impossibility are also covered by Section 56, which declares that a contract to do an act which after the contract is made becomes impossible or unlawful to perform is void.